The Ferrari team has detected a legal loophole in the FIA regulations that allows them to make modifications to Hamilton's car, enabling him to be 1.5 seconds faster than Max Verstappen's race pace during the Bahrain tests. Stay until the end, and I'll give you all the details. Subscribe only if you want Hamilton to win his 8th World Championship and be crowned as the greatest driver in history. Deep within the heart of Maranello, hidden behind layers of security, secrecy, and an unshakable determination to return to the pinnacle of motorsport, an elite squad of engineers, aerodynamicists, strategists, and power unit specialists worked tirelessly on what could be the most controversial and revolutionary breakthrough in modern Formula One history. The Ferrari facility, already a fortress of innovation, has transformed into something even more mysterious, a clandestine operation so tightly controlled that only a handful of individuals know the full extent of what is unfolding. The world awaits Lewis Hamilton's highly anticipated debut in Ferrari Red at the Australian Grand Prix. But what is happening behind closed doors could alter the trajectory of the entire 2025 season before the first lap is even completed. Ferrari's top executives, led by the ever-calculating Frédéric Vasseur, have pinpointed a specific, barely perceptible loophole in the FIA's newly refined 2025 technical regulations, an exploit so intricately woven into the very fabric of the rulebook that even the most experienced regulatory watchdogs have failed to spot it. This is not just another standard development upgrade. This is not about extracting an extra tenth or gaining a small advantage in high-speed corners. This is a full-scale performance revolution, a meticulously engineered game-changer designed to leave Red Bull, Mercedes, and McLaren grasping for answers. The numbers emerging from Ferrari's private simulations are staggering. If accurate, Hamilton's race pace will be up to 1.5 seconds per lap quicker than Verstappen's most refined efforts during Bahrain testing, an advantage so outrageous that, in a full-length Grand Prix, it would amount to a race-winning margin so enormous that rival teams wouldn't even see Ferrari's rear wing beyond the opening laps. This is the kind of advantage that could send the F1 community into chaos, trigger immediate protests, force emergency FIA meetings, and potentially rewrite the championship narrative before it even properly begins. Subscribe only if you want Hamilton to win his 8th World Championship and be crowned as the greatest driver in history. Inside Ferrari's heavily restricted research and development wing, a codename has been given to this ultra-secret project, Project 44, a symbolic nod to Hamilton's racing number and a declaration of intent. This is not just a car, this is a weapon built with one purpose: to crush the competition before they have a chance to react. Every person involved operates under extreme confidentiality. No sensitive documents leave the premises. No leaks are tolerated. Any engineer working on non-critical aspects of the SF-25 is kept in the dark about the details of Project 44. Only the highest-ranking technical personnel have full knowledge of what Ferrari is about to unleash upon the grid. This is Formula One warfare at its most ruthless. At the heart of this engineering masterstroke lies an unprecedented fusion of aerodynamics, energy deployment, and mechanical efficiency, an innovation that goes beyond what any other team has managed to achieve. While Red Bull has refined their dominant ground effect philosophy, Ferrari has taken an entirely different approach, rethinking the very principles of how airflow interacts with a chassis and how power is deployed across a race stint. Central to this breakthrough is a radical cooling system, one that subtly manipulates airflow in ways that remain technically legal under the FIA stringent regulations, but that provide an overwhelming advantage in both straight-line speed and high-speed cornering stability. This system, integrated with an adaptive aerodynamic philosophy, allows for dynamic shifting of the car's center of pressure during different phases of a lap, creating the illusion of two separate aerodynamic configurations merging into one seamless, brutally efficient machine. Subscribe only if you want Hamilton to win his 8th World Championship and be crowned as the greatest driver in history. Yet, the true power of Ferrari's advantage does not solely lie in its aerodynamics. The power unit, long considered Ferrari's Achilles heel in the hybrid era, has undergone a transformation so extreme that its impact could rival the legendary technical shifts of the sport's history. The new energy recovery system is at the heart of this overhaul, utilizing an advanced method of selective kinetic energy deployment, a system so intricately designed that it allows for Hamilton and Leclerc to access additional horsepower at moments precisely calculated to neutralize the threat of DRS-assisted attacks from rivals. Unlike conventional MGUK deployment, which most teams optimize for straight-line speed over an entire lap, Ferrari's hybrid system is engineered to release power in unpredictable bursts, creating a slingshot effect that makes overtaking Hamilton or Leclerc nearly impossible. The advantage is not just in pure speed, it is in control. In a wheel-to-wheel battle, Ferrari's drivers will have access to an acceleration boost at the exact moments where their competitors need it most, ensuring that even a car in the slipstream is unable to capitalize on straight-line gains. Subscribe only if you want Hamilton to win his 8th World Championship and be crowned as the greatest driver in history. Ferrari strategists, already running extensive race simulations, believe this system will allow Hamilton to establish an unassailable lead within the first 10 laps of the Australian Grand Prix, rendering any attempts by Verstappen, Norris, or Russell to stay within DRS range completely futile. Their projections for the first 3 races are almost dystopian from a rival's perspective. In Melbourne, Ferrari's data suggests a potential 30-second race-winning margin if no safety cars interfere. In Jeddah, a circuit that rewards high-speed stability and rapid acceleration, their model indicates that Hamilton could lap half the midfield before the final 10 laps. And in Suzuka, one of the most aerodynamically demanding circuits on the calendar, their simulation suggests that Ferrari's SF25 could be a full second per lap faster through the iconic SEs alone. But Ferrari is well aware that the moment their advantage becomes evident, the reaction from their rivals will be swift and severe. Red Bull, led by the technical genius of Adrian Newey, will immediately begin a forensic-level analysis of Ferrari's aerodynamics, poring over slow-motion footage, airflow sensors, and onboard telemetry. Mercedes will undoubtedly push for FIA intervention, probing for any possible regulatory gray areas that could force Ferrari to reveal their secrets. McLaren, already rumored to have a massive mid-season upgrade in development, will double their efforts to find a countermeasure. But Ferrari's plan hinges on one thing: timing. By the time the FIA investigates, by the time the competition begins catching up, Hamilton and Leclerc could already have built an insurmountable championship lead. And once that gap exists, there will be no way to undo it. Subscribe only if you want Hamilton to win his 8th World Championship and be crowned as the greatest driver in history. Hamilton himself knows exactly what is at stake. The meticulous preparation, the clandestine meetings, the endless simulations, he has seen it all firsthand. His demeanor in pre-season testing has been eerily calm, almost too composed, as if he already knows the inevitable. This is the opportunity of a lifetime. For years, he has battled Verstappen's dominance, endured Red Bull's superiority, watched from a distance as Mercedes struggled to return to its former glory. Now he has been handed a machine unlike any other, and with it, the chance to strike back with unrelenting force. And then there is Charles Leclerc, the beloved Monégasque, the golden child of Ferrari's future. He has endured the heartbreak of near victories, the frustration of strategy blunders, the pain of knowing his talent deserved better. But now, for the first time, he has machinery capable of delivering a world title. The dynamic between Hamilton and Leclerc will be one of the most explosive elements of the season. Will they work together to crush Ferrari's competition? Or will their internal rivalry escalate into a full-scale power struggle that risks imploding the team from within? The world remains blissfully unaware of what is coming. The media focuses on predictable narratives. Can Red Bull be beaten? Is McLaren a dark horse? Can Mercedes recover? The truth is, none of those questions will matter if Ferrari executes its plan to perfection. Because when the lights go out in Melbourne, everything will change. The paddock will be left in disbelief. The radio messages from rival engineers will reveal the panic. The realization will set in. Subscribe only if you want Hamilton to win his 8th World Championship and be crowned as the greatest driver in history. Ferrari has done the unthinkable. Hamilton is about to rewrite history. And by the time the rest of the grid understands how it happened, it will already be too late. Ferrari's SF25 is not just a mere evolution of its predecessors. It is a testament to the relentless pursuit of technical perfection, a machine sculpted with precision and ambition to exploit every conceivable advantage within the constraints of the FIA's regulations. The car represents a paradigm shift in design philosophy, with every component engineered to push the boundaries of aerodynamic efficiency, mechanical grip, and race day adaptability. At the heart of Ferrari's resurgence lies a trifecta of revolutionary innovations: an advanced rear diffuser concept, a dynamically optimized suspension system that cleverly navigates regulation loopholes, and a cutting-edge brake cooling mechanism that subtly enhances aerodynamic stability while maintaining compliance with regulatory frameworks. These meticulously crafted enhancements have positioned Ferrari not only as contenders, but as potential game-changers in the battle for Formula One supremacy. A crucial element of Ferrari's aerodynamic breakthrough stems from an astute and unconventional interpretation of Article 3.7 of the FIA technical regulations. While rival teams have adhered to a conservative approach regarding diffuser geometry, Ferrari's engineering think tank unearthed an innovative way to extract additional performance by legally modifying the lower extremities of the rear diffuser. This seemingly minute adjustment has profound implications. It enables the SF25 to generate heightened levels of rear downforce without incurring the traditional penalties associated with aerodynamic drag. This means that Ferrari's drivers, particularly Lewis Hamilton, can attack corners with greater confidence, carrying increased mid-corner speeds while maintaining unparalleled rear-end stability. The aerodynamic efficiency of this enhancement translates into superior tire longevity and reduced lap time degradation over race stints, providing a strategic advantage in both qualifying and long-distance race simulations. However, Ferrari's ingenuity does not stop with the diffuser. The team's ride height control system embodies a masterstroke in mechanical design, offering dynamic chassis adjustments without contravening the FIA stringent bans on active suspension. Unlike Red Bull's now restricted hydraulic solutions, Ferrari's mechanism is purely mechanical, relying on an intricate assembly of torsion bars, passive dampers, and reactive linkages that adjust the car's rake based on real-time load distribution. The result is a chassis that remains exquisitely balanced in high-speed sections, while adapting seamlessly to varying track elevations and camber angles. The most striking benefit of this system lies in its ability to deliver extraordinary stability on straights while providing additional mechanical grip through slower, more technical sections. This dual-purpose functionality grants Ferrari an edge on circuits with diverse cornering profiles, ensuring that the SF25 is as formidable in tight, twisty sections as it is on sweeping, high-speed bends. Perhaps the most ingenious and controversial aspect of Ferrari's latest technological arsenal is its avant-garde brake cooling solution, which subtly doubles as an aerodynamic enhancement device. Traditionally, brake ducts serve a singular purpose, dissipating the extreme heat generated under heavy braking loads. However, Ferrari's technical team has devised a way to manipulate the airflow generated within these ducts, redirecting residual heat and turbulent air in a manner that harmonizes the car's overall aerodynamic flow. This not only optimizes brake temperatures but also reduces unwanted turbulence around critical aerodynamic surfaces, smoothing airflow distribution across the underfloor and rear wing. The cumulative effect is a reduction in drag-induced inefficiencies while maintaining optimal cooling performance, an unprecedented fusion of mechanical necessity and aerodynamic exploitation that no other team has yet been able to replicate within regulatory constraints. For Lewis Hamilton, this technological marvel represents a dramatic departure from the challenges he faced at Mercedes. The SF25 offers an entirely different dynamic, a platform that allows him to push the car to its absolute limits without battling instability or erratic behavior. Gone are the days of wrestling with a nervous rear end or making constant steering corrections due to inconsistent aerodynamic loads. Instead, Hamilton now finds himself behind the wheel of a machine that reacts predictably, allowing him to brake later, carry more speed through apexes, and deploy power earlier on exits. His natural driving style, characterized by aggressive late braking and razor-sharp precision through high-speed corners, is now perfectly complemented by a car that rewards commitment and confidence. Beyond the raw performance of the car, Ferrari's approach to race operations has undergone a seismic shift. Recognizing that race execution has been their Achilles heel in previous seasons, the Scuderia has implemented a comprehensive overhaul of its strategic division. The once criticized indecisiveness that led to miscalculated pit stops and ill-timed tire changes has been replaced with a more streamlined, data-driven approach. Ferrari has recruited key personnel from both Red Bull and Mercedes, ensuring that their strategy team is equipped with the sharpest minds in the sport. Real-time AI-assisted simulations now allow Ferrari to predict race developments with unprecedented accuracy, providing their drivers with the best possible tactical guidance under dynamic conditions. This transformation means that Ferrari is no longer just relying on car performance. They are now optimizing every facet of race execution to maximize their championship prospects. Ferrari's power unit, a perennial strength with sporadic weaknesses, has also undergone substantial refinement. The previous iteration of the engine was among the most potent on the grid, yet it suffered from inconsistencies in fuel consumption and thermal efficiency, limiting its full potential over long race distances. The latest power unit iteration features an improved combustion cycle and an advanced energy recovery system that provides more consistent power delivery while reducing overall wear. A newly developed cooling architecture ensures that the unit can operate at peak efficiency even under extreme temperatures, addressing a long-standing Ferrari vulnerability in high-degradation conditions. Yet, despite Ferrari's undeniable progress, the the battle at the summit of Formula One remains anything but straightforward. Red Bull, the reigning champions and the masters of aerodynamic ingenuity, have been closely analyzing Ferrari's advancements, working tirelessly to develop countermeasures. Adrian Newey's technical empire has reportedly been experimenting with a next-generation rear-wing concept that aims to negate some of Ferrari's newfound straight-line speed advantages. The RB21, while appearing to be an evolution rather than a revolution, is rumored to incorporate radical underfloor modifications that could allow Red Bull to maintain their competitive edge. Mercedes, eager to reclaim their place at the front, has undertaken a bold redesign of their car philosophy. Abandoning the flawed zero-sidepod concept that plagued them for 2 seasons, the W15 embraces a more conventional yet meticulously refined aerodynamic package. While early feedback from Hamilton and Russell suggests significant improvements in drivability and balance, the key question remains: have they done enough to close the performance gap to Red Bull and Ferrari? The initial data suggests a substantial step forward, but only race conditions will reveal whether Mercedes can consistently challenge for victories. Meanwhile, McLaren remains an unpredictable dark horse. Their remarkable resurgence in the latter half of 2024 was no fluke, and the MCL38 has been developed with a focus on maximizing aerodynamic efficiency and refining tire management strategies. Lando Norris, now firmly established as one of the sport's elite talents, is more determined than ever to break into the title fight. The team's early testing data hints at significant gains, yet they remain cautious about revealing their full potential before the season commences. As the opening round of the 2025 season looms, Formula One finds itself on the brink of one of its most compelling chapters yet. Ferrari has armed itself with a machine engineered to perfection, but Red Bull will not surrender their throne without a monumental fight. Mercedes lurks in the background, desperate to return to the summit, while McLaren stands ready to upset the established order. The sport has never been more unpredictable, never more finely balanced, never more thrilling. What unfolds next will be the defining story of the season. Will Ferrari's audacious engineering breakthroughs finally deliver the championship they crave? Can Red Bull innovate their way back to superiority? Will Mercedes rediscover their winning formula? Or will McLaren disrupt the hierarchy with a surprise title challenge? In the relentless, unforgiving world of Formula One, the margin between triumph and heartbreak is razor-thin. The countdown has begun. The paddock is buzzing. The anticipation is electric. And in just a few weeks, when the 5 red lights extinguish in Bahrain, speculation will give way to reality. The battle for supremacy is about to ignite, and in the pursuit of greatness, only the most brilliant, the most ruthless, and the most unyielding will emerge victorious. Ferrari has meticulously crafted a machine that could redefine the competitive landscape of Formula One, leaving no stone unturned in their relentless pursuit of superiority. Every single component, every aerodynamic surface, and every intricate mechanical element of the SF25 has been fine-tuned with surgical precision to ensure that it stands head and shoulders above the competition. However, what truly sets this car apart is a game-changing innovation hidden in plain sight, one that could provide Lewis Hamilton with a crucial advantage that no other driver on the grid will possess. At the heart of Ferrari's revolutionary approach lies a newly engineered brake cooling duct, a component that has historically been utilized purely for thermal management. Traditionally, these ducts serve the sole function of regulating brake temperatures, ensuring that overheating is kept at bay while simultaneously maintaining optimal performance across a race distance. But Ferrari, always searching for an edge, has taken this simple concept and transformed it into something far more sophisticated. This reimagined brake duct does more than just cool the carbon discs. It actively manipulates airflow in a way that enhances the car's aerodynamic efficiency, particularly in turbulent conditions. The ability to maintain rear-end stability while navigating dirty air is one of the most crucial aspects of modern Formula One racing, and Ferrari's engineers have devised a solution that could allow Hamilton to follow rival cars with unprecedented ease. In a sport where losing downforce in the wake of another vehicle has historically been one of the biggest obstacles to overtaking, this innovation could prove to be a decisive factor. To put it into perspective, when a Formula One car follows another at close proximity, the disturbed air coming off the leading vehicle significantly reduces the effectiveness of the pursuing car's aerodynamic surfaces, leading to a loss of grip, understeer in high-speed corners, and increased tire wear. Ferrari's latest breakthrough aims to counteract these effects by redirecting airflow in such a way that minimizes the disruption, allowing Hamilton to remain in the slipstream without suffering the usual consequences. If this concept works as intended, It could fundamentally change how races are fought, allowing the Ferrari driver to apply relentless pressure lap after lap without having to drop back to cool his tires or regain stability. Every possible scenario has been simulated, every potential outcome analyzed in Ferrari's state-of-the-art wind tunnel, and the results have exceeded even their own ambitious expectations. The data pouring in from Maranello suggests that the SF25 isn't just an improvement over last year's car, it's a paradigm shift. Not only is it blisteringly fast over a single lap, but its ability to maintain consistent performance across a full race distance is what has truly set alarm bells ringing in rival teams' headquarters. Within the halls of Ferrari, there is a growing belief that they are on the brink of something truly historic. Their internal simulations indicate that, in Hamilton's hands, this car could be the most dominant force on the grid when the season kicks off in Melbourne. This isn't just about challenging for race wins, it's about setting a precedent, establishing a new benchmark, and possibly beginning a new era of Ferrari supremacy. However, the real genius of Ferrari's strategy lies in the timing of their developments. While the FIA enforces strict limitations on in-season upgrades to prevent teams from gaining an undue advantage, pre-season testing operates under a different set of regulations. As long as any modifications adhere to the existing technical rulebook, Ferrari has no obligation to inform the FIA or their competitors before the first race. This creates a golden opportunity, one that Ferrari is prepared to fully exploit. By keeping their cards close to their chest, they ensure that no rival team has the opportunity to reverse engineer their concepts or file complaints before the SF25 has already demonstrated its superiority on track. By the time the rest of the grid comprehends what Ferrari has achieved, they could already be facing an insurmountable gap. Secrecy has been paramount throughout Ferrari's winter development program. Information has been tightly controlled, with only a select few engineers granted full access to the details of the SF25's most sensitive innovations. Even within the team, not everyone is aware of the full scope of what Ferrari has in store. And yet, despite their best efforts to keep things under wraps, whispers have begun circulating. Unconfirmed reports suggest that in private testing sessions, Hamilton has already been producing lap times that have stunned those privileged enough to see them. Although official numbers remain hidden, sources within Maranello have hinted that his early runs have been nothing short of sensational. Meanwhile, the reaction from the rest of the grid has been a mix of skepticism and quiet apprehension. Red Bull, the reigning champions, have been uncharacteristically reserved. A team that normally thrives on psychological warfare, sending out bold statements and mind games before a season begins, has instead chosen to adopt an unusually low profile. Could this be an indication that they are aware of something the public isn't? Have they already seen enough from Ferrari's limited on-track running to recognize the scale of the threat they are facing? Mercedes, on the other hand, is in an unprecedented position. After years of dominating the sport, they now find themselves forced to watch as their former talisman prepares to take their biggest rival back to the top. Toto Wolff, ever the strategist, has attempted to downplay concerns, insisting that Mercedes is focused purely on its own development. But behind closed doors, there is no doubt that anxiety is mounting. Their driver lineup remains a work in progress. While George Russell has shown flashes of brilliance, he is still in the process of cementing himself as a team leader. His new teammate, though talented, lacks the wealth of experience that Hamilton brought to the table. If Ferrari's rumored pace is real, Mercedes may find itself relegated to a supporting role rather than fighting at the front. McLaren, riding a wave of momentum from their impressive second half of the previous season, is also watching Ferrari's progress with bated breath. Lando Norris, confident in his team's gains, has spoken optimistically about their chances in 2025, but even the most ambitious projections acknowledge that if Ferrari has truly unlocked a new level of dominance, the battle at the sharp end of the grid may already be decided before the season has begun. And then there's Aston Martin, a team that has invested heavily in personnel, technology, and infrastructure, yet still finds itself on the outside looking in when it comes to title contention. Fernando Alonso, always one to stir the pot, has already hinted that Ferrari could be the team to beat. Some dismiss his comments as typical gamesmanship, an attempt to shift pressure away from Aston Martin, but what if he's right? What if Ferrari is about to unleash something truly groundbreaking? With pre-season testing rapidly approaching, the anticipation has reached a fever pitch. The speculation, the mind games, the uncertainty, everything is building towards what could be one of the most dramatic season openers in recent history. Will Ferrari's calculated gamble pay off? Will Hamilton, in his first race in red, deliver a statement victory that sends shockwaves through the sport? Or will the other team scramble to close the gap before Ferrari runs away with the championship? Formula One has seen periods of dominance before, but what Ferrari is attempting to accomplish isn't just about winning, it's about rewriting the sport's competitive hierarchy altogether. If their numbers are correct, if their simulations are to be believed, and if Hamilton extracts the absolute maximum from the SF25, we could be on the verge of witnessing one of the most formidable seasons in modern Formula One history. The clock is ticking. The world is watching. And as the engines prepare to roar to life in Melbourne, Ferrari stands on the precipice of something extraordinary, an opportunity to seize control of Formula One in a way that hasn't been seen in decades. If everything goes according to plan, this could be the beginning of a new golden era, one that will be remembered for generations to come. The tension in the paddock was thick enough to cut with a knife. The pre-season atmosphere had shifted from cautious optimism to something far more electrifying, far more dangerous. Every team had spent months fine-tuning their machines, pushing the boundaries of engineering, searching for every fraction of performance within the gray areas of the rulebook. But behind the steel doors of Ferrari's Maranello headquarters, something unprecedented was unfolding, something that had the potential to redefine the competitive landscape of Formula One. If Red Bull or Mercedes failed to recognize the loophole before the first race, Ferrari could capitalize in a way that would send shockwaves through the grid. The level of secrecy surrounding the project was unlike anything seen in recent years. Only a handful of senior engineers were fully briefed on the scope of the modifications, and even fewer understood the full implications. This wasn't just a performance game, it was an engineering masterstroke. Lewis Hamilton sat in the heart of it all. The seven-time world champion was no stranger to the mind games and tactical warfare of Formula One, but what he was witnessing now was something different. He was used to Mercedes playing with an open hand, trusting their superior design philosophy and relentless development to keep them ahead of the competition. But Ferrari was operating on a different level entirely. In a private high-security debriefing room deep within Ferrari's technical headquarters, Hamilton sat with his arms crossed, his gaze locked onto the screens in front of him. The lights were dimmed, the air humming with an almost electric intensity. Across the table, Jacques Clear, Ferrari's head of driver performance and a man who had seen more championship battles than most, methodically laid out the data. Graphs, telemetry overlays, wind tunnel projections, every metric pointed to the same conclusion. This was the fastest Ferrari Formula One car in over a decade. Hamilton exhaled slowly, his fingers drumming lightly against the polished metal table. He had spent years as Ferrari's nemesis, watching from the other side of the battlefield as they tried and failed to dethrone him at Mercedes. Now, for the first time, he wasn't just part of the team. He was at the center of something that had the potential to completely shatter the existing pecking order. He leaned back, his expression unreadable, but then, a slow smirk spread across his face. "If this works," he said, voice steady, deliberate, "they won't know what hit them." No one responded. They didn't need to. Everyone in that room understood the gravity of the situation. They weren't just preparing a car, they were preparing an ambush. In the garage, the mechanics worked in near silence, the air thick with unspoken pressure. The modifications were being installed under the cover of night, every movement carefully orchestrated, every precaution taken to prevent leaks. Ferrari wasn't just keeping their secrets from the media, they were keeping them from everyone. Even within the team, only those who absolutely needed to know had clearance. No external cameras. No unnecessary radio transmissions. No one allowed near the pit lane without express approval. Across the paddock, the rumors were beginning to spread. Other teams had noticed the unusual activity, the late-night shifts, the encrypted data transfers between Maranello and the circuit. Red Bull's senior engineers were already whispering about it. Adrian Newey, a man who could spot an innovation from a mile away, was poring over every available piece of information, searching for an answer. But Ferrari had played their cards too well. Christian Horner wasn't fooled, though. He had been in this sport long enough to recognize when a rival team was up to something. He had watched Mercedes dominate for nearly a decade, and he knew that if Ferrari had truly found a way to bend the rules in their favor, it could be catastrophic for Red Bull's continued supremacy. At Mercedes, the tension was different, less about paranoia and more about sheer frustration. Toto Wolff had placed every ounce of confidence in the W15's design, believing it to be the car that would finally bring Mercedes back into the title fight. But now, whispers of Ferrari's secret project were beginning to take root, and it was unsettling. Hamilton wasn't saying a word. He had spent too long in this game to give anything away. He had already felt the raw power of the car in the simulator, seen the data that made his pulse quicken. Let them wonder. Let them second-guess themselves. He knew exactly what Ferrari was about to unleash. And then, the moment of truth arrived. A private test session. No media. No external observers. No one outside of Ferrari's inner circle allowed within 500 meters of the Fiorano circuit. The car sat on the pit lane, its bodywork reflecting the overhead lights, looking more like a predator waiting to pounce than a racing machine. Mechanics swarmed around it, triple-checking every component, speaking in hushed tones. Engineers monitored telemetry feeds with razor-sharp focus, their screens displaying real-time data as Hamilton climbed into the cockpit. He pulled his gloves tighter, adjusted his helmet. The radio crackled. All systems are optimal. You're good to go. No hesitation. No second thoughts. Hamilton pressed the throttle, and the Ferrari launched out of the pit lane with an aggression that almost seemed unnatural. The telemetry screens in the garage lit up as sector times began rolling in. Sector 1, quick. Sector 2, blistering. Sector 3, untouchable. The pit wall was silent. No one spoke as Hamilton tore through the final corner, crossing the line with a lap time that sent shockwaves through the team. The data confirmed what they had already suspected. This car wasn't just fast. It was a game changer. Hamilton's voice crackled through the radio, laced with unmistakable excitement. I think we've got something here. The Ferrari engineers exchanged glances, subtle nods of understanding. There was no need for celebration, no need for premature excitement. The mission wasn't complete yet, but the signs were undeniable. They had created something revolutionary, something the competition hadn't seen coming. Back in the paddock, Red Bull, Mercedes, McLaren, and the rest of the grid remained oblivious to what had just transpired. The FIA had no idea. The world had no idea. But when the lights went out in Melbourne, when Ferrari finally unveiled what they had been keeping under lock and key, the rest of the grid would have just one question on their minds. How the hell did we let this happen? Ferrari is orchestrating a masterstroke behind closed doors, playing a game so intricate that even Red Bull, Mercedes, and the FIA remain oblivious to the storm that's about to engulf them. Deep in Maranello, far from the prying eyes of rival engineers and the watchful gaze of the FIA, an innovation is taking shape, one that could redefine the competitive landscape of Formula One in ways never seen before. It's not just a tweak to aerodynamics, not just an enhancement to straight-line speed or tire management. This is something fundamentally disruptive, something that could obliterate the status quo and put Ferrari in an untouchable position before the rest of the grid even realizes what's happening. The Scuderia's engineers, some of the most brilliant minds in motorsport, have cracked a code that no one else has even thought to decipher. The nature of their breakthrough remains shrouded in secrecy, with misinformation deliberately planted to mislead their competitors. Could it be a revolutionary power unit tweak that allows them to extract more energy from a hybrid system without sacrificing reliability? Is it a new take on active suspension that subtly manipulates aerodynamic balance in ways that push the limits of legality? Or is it something even more insidious, a loophole so well hidden within the regulations that it won't be noticed until Ferrari is already running away with the championship? Red Bull has spent the past few years mastering the art of regulatory exploitation, squeezing every ounce of advantage out of the gray areas in the rulebook. They have made a habit of setting the standard, with every other team scrambling to play catch-up. But now, for the first time in years, the tables have turned. Ferrari isn't just playing the same game, they've rewritten the rules altogether. Meanwhile, Red Bull remains serenely confident in their RB21. Their belief is unshaken, their conviction absolute. Adrian Newey's latest creation, designed with the same brilliance that has kept them ahead of the field for the past 3 seasons, is expected to dominate once again. Verstappen, a driver at the peak of his abilities, is ready to unleash another campaign of relentless excellence, convinced that his reign at the top will continue unchallenged. But what Red Bull fails to realize is that Ferrari is on the brink of shifting the balance of power in ways no one anticipated. If the FIA doesn't intervene in time, if they don't recognize what Ferrari has done before the season opener in Melbourne, it could already be too late. There are whispers in the paddock, quiet murmurs of doubt creeping into conversations between rival engineers. Some believe Ferrari has discovered a way to reduce drag without compromising downforce, allowing them to carry more speed through high-speed corners while maintaining better efficiency on the straights. Others suggest the breakthrough lies in energy deployment, an optimization of the hybrid powertrain that lets them sustain peak performance for longer periods without overheating. Then there's the wildest theory of all, that Ferrari has unlocked a new method of managing airflow around the rear suspension, creating an effect that mimics ground effect aerodynamics without violating the regulations. The truth? Nobody outside of Maranello knows for sure. And that is what terrifies Red Bull the most. Testing data has been inconclusive, but that's by design. Ferrari isn't showing their full potential. Their lap times are carefully managed, their long-run simulations disguised to prevent rivals from identifying patterns. Their drivers, Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc, aren't just gathering data. They're stress testing this new technology under real-world conditions, perfecting the execution so that when it's unleashed, it will be unstoppable. Hamilton, a 7-time world champion who has long chased the elusive 8th title, senses that this might be his golden opportunity. He has driven dominant cars before, but nothing like this. If Ferrari's innovation works as intended, he won't just be fighting for wins. He'll be dictating the terms of the championship battle from day one. The prospect of standing on the top step in Melbourne, of looking down at Verstappen knowing that for the first time in years, Red Bull is playing catch-up, is fueling his hunger like never before. And here's the most shocking part. Ferrari hasn't even revealed everything yet. Their testing program has been a masterpiece of deception. While other teams push their cars to the limit, setting fast laps and revealing their strengths and weaknesses in plain sight, Ferrari has been playing the long game. Every lap is part of a calculated strategy to keep their true performance hidden until it matters most. Even within the team, only a select few know the full extent of what's coming. But will the FIA allow this to stand? History has shown that when a team finds a loophole this significant, the governing body reacts swiftly. Think back to the Braun GP double diffuser, the Mercedes DS system, the blown diffusers of Red Bull's earlier dominance. Each of these innovations forced the FIA to step in and close the door before rivals could replicate them. If Ferrari's secret weapon is as powerful as the speculation suggests, it's only a matter of time before the FIA is pressured into action. The question is, will it happen before or after the first race? Time is running out for Red Bull. Their engineers are working around the clock, dissecting every frame of Ferrari's on-track behavior, poring over sector times, searching for anomalies in tire degradation and fuel consumption. Every bit of data is being scrutinized, every possibility considered. But what if they're looking in the wrong place? What if Ferrari's advantage is so well hidden, so deeply integrated into the SF25's design, that it won't be discovered until it's too late? If Ferrari's plan works, the psychological impact on the rest of the grid will be devastating. Red Bull, the team that has defined this era of Formula One, will suddenly find themselves in unfamiliar territory, chasing instead of leading. Mercedes, still recovering from their post-2021 struggles, may find that their progress is meaningless if Ferrari has leaped ahead. And the FIA, reluctant to intervene too quickly, may be forced into a difficult decision: allow Ferrari to reshape the season or crack down before the championship is decided too soon. But what if Red Bull has an answer? What if, buried deep within the RB21, there's a countermeasure waiting to be deployed? Could Adrian Newey have anticipated this and designed a response? Is there a secret weapon within Red Bull's arsenal, a development they've held back for the right moment? If so, the battle that awaits in Melbourne won't just be about speed, it will be a war of innovation, of strategy, of who can outmaneuver who in the relentless pursuit of victory. One thing is certain: Formula One is teetering on the edge of a seismic shift. This isn't just another season. This is the dawn of a new chapter, a fight that will define the next era of the sport. The rivalry between Hamilton and Verstappen, already one of the most intense in history, is about to reach a boiling point. And Ferrari, a team that has endured heartbreak after heartbreak, may finally have the weapon they need to reclaim their place at the top. The lights are about to go out in Melbourne. And when they do, the world will finally see the truth. Will Ferrari's secret be enough to break Red Bull's dominance? Will the FIA step in before the first race and shut down this loophole? Or is Red Bull about to unveil a response that no one saw coming? The countdown has begun. The tension is suffocating. The stakes have never been this high. And trust me, this is just the beginning.